go ahead and play it. Hello and welcome to the Benzo Rehab Dungeon. This is episode 73. It is the 31st of December, 2021.
Is this some kind of special day?
Could you let me finish the intro, please?
Oh.
Fuck's sake. We've talked about this. I am your host, Michael Deebs, being currently interrupted by co-host Danko Suvin from the Instagram handle at DankDeLuz.
It's my job.
Being courteously listened to by John the producer from the Instagram handle at Discopathic.
That's his job.
Yeah, true. Yeah, fair. Seen
and
but
clicking
never
on
heard.
Russian pornography.
Being quiet, being pretty, getting us in trouble with YouTube.
Yes.
Cool. Normally I ask how you gentlemen are doing, but that's kind of like a fake thing to do because we talked about it before we even started recording. So, John, do you have any New Year's resolutions? Feel free to say no.
No, I do have New Year's resolutions.
Oh, okay. Said no anyways.
Well, fuck. Yeah. All right. Let's pass then.
Man.
By technicality. Please tell us your New Year's resolutions. We're all very interested. Love you very much.
It was just to be a better human, or be human, maybe. Try to figure that out.
That's pretty fucking weak if you ask me. But
yeah,
I kind of wish I didn't stop you from passing.
Is that a video game?
A better human?
Like become a human? Human? I don't know.
No, it's Detroit Become Human. It's about Android something, right? That's what
Hell yeah,
is it? About. It's an alright game. It's one of those story games. Not really like super interactive or anything.
Yeah.
Danko, New Year's resolutions, yes, no.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose my virginity.
Oh,
congrats.
I'm gonna do it.
We probably should have talked about this before we announced it to everyone.
Well, man. I mean, I was afraid you'd stop me. So what I'm saying is I knew I was doing something wrong, but so I decided to do it anyway.
Well, that's part of the thrill, isn't it? If it's not wrong, it doesn't have the same fun anymore.
Yeah. You know what they say? A great sage once said, if this is wrong, then it's probably not right. Wait, is that? No, I think I got the wrong.
If doing this is wrong, I don't want to be right. I don't know.
No. Why would it be that? No, it's got to have logical consistency. So if doing this is wrong, then it's probably not right. Yeah, I think that's correct, actually.
Okay, well, never mind. Yeah. I guess we philosophied that one, huh? My New Year's resolution.
New Year's resolution?
I was gonna throw mine out because nobody was asking.
What's your New Year's resolution, Deebs?
Thank you for this very natural conversation, gentlemen.
We care about your feelings and goals.
Yeah.
My New Year's resolution is to I don't know, buy a piece of land somewhere is my resolution. But also to steal more things. So I may end up just stealing land if I can.
Here you go.
Do it.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
you're just becoming a white person, huh?
Yeah.
Moving on up in the world.
I mean, the only way to live with white people is to become white. That's what I've been told, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for the Irish, right?
Yeah.
They were slaves once too. No. So I hate to start this out on a bad note. But news.
Betty White is dead.
Well, all right.
Oh, is that actually what you're gonna say?
Yeah, don't ease us into it. Just fucking pull down your pants and whip out the dick of Betty White is dead.
I didn't think that's what you were gonna bring up.
Yeah, that's why I had us prepare some kind of drink so we could give her a salute.
Oh, man, I'm a nightmare. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm a nightmare too. Who knew we could laugh so much over Betty White's death? Well, that's not the right way to say that.
It was the perfect way to end 2021, with all the magical thinking around years.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the worst year. We'll kill the unkillable.
If you think you're a nightmare,
Betty White was twice as bad.
I'm actually a worse nightmare because the way I found out is I am part of a group that has a celebrity death pool, and so we take bets at the beginning of each year to see who's gonna die during that year. I had Betty White down. Betty White, due to her age, was only gonna be a 2-point pick when I picked her. She had her birthday in January. And so she became a 1-point pick very early on in the year. And I was like, I don't know if that was a good pick, I was thinking it would be an easy 2 points, but since she's died on a holiday, that's actually extra points. So I actually
Hell yeah, how many points?
101 points out of her.
Wow.
Because it's a rare occasion. I did not win the death pool. Somebody else did. A mutual friend of ours, actually, Danko.
How did they beat you after you got 100 extra points?
They also had Betty White.
Okay, that's fair.
So yeah, by virtue of us, a couple of us making some Hail Mary plays, I'm second, tied with some other folks. Well, another folk, and then mutual friend of ours won.
Folk.
All joking aside, say goodbye to a legend. I got a shot here. Cheers to Betty White. You think she's going to heaven?
I hope not.
Yeah. She's too cool for heaven.
Yeah. It sounds boring.
Cool. Glad we agree.
Man, that got me all gassy.
Well, that's what happens when you drink.
Yeah.
It is 12 p.m., gentlemen. Fucking alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's 2 p.m. here, so I'm better than you, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah.
No.
Actually, no, I'm the most normalist person here. I just realized. Hold on.
That's pretty
racist.
Yeah. I think John and I had the same thought. We were like, one of these things is not like the others.
But no. But hear me out. So there are rules to drinking in polite society.
Yeah.
So
all
around
of them
noon.
Are dumb.
Yeah.
It sounds like more white people stuff.
Around noon, you're allowed to have something like a beer. Right.
Oh,
around 5 p.m. is when you start to have hard liquor. Right. Because you can have a beer with lunch. That's totally normal. And so because I just chugged a beer at noon 12, at noon 11, I think it was, I'm actually the one that is doing entirely normal things. John is slightly less of an alcoholic, and Mike has a problem.
I woke up and started drinking whiskey on Christmas.
Yeah. Well, that's Christmas, though.
Yeah. Well,
that's an exception as well.
See, that's what I always say.
Yeah.
And then everybody else in the room is like, no, that's not how it works. At my intervention.
You know what the second worst hangover I've ever had was?
I don't know, but did it involve me?
No, I don't think this one did.
Good, because I don't encourage drinking that much.
That's true. But it was Christmas Eve. and it was a very stressful year for the family, or for me with the family at least. I don't know how they felt because I don't ask them. But so I got a big ass carton of eggnog,
Okay.
and I got a big ass bottle of brandy, and not good stuff.
Yeah.
And I just mixed them together. And despite, brandy's not that high of alcohol, like it's high enough. But that mixed with sugary dairy eggnog and then drinking all of both. The next morning, I was vibrating across the house. Like I had to drag, I had brunch plans for Christmas over at one of our old friends' place. And I had to like drag myself over to him. I shouldn't have driven, not because I was drunk, but because like my hands were like shaking so hard. It was very bad. It's fun. But yeah, don't drink that much brandied eggnog. Don't do it.
Yeah.
In general, don't drink brandy. There are better
things. I was going to say also drink responsibly. And if you don't drink, that's cool too. That's probably better for you.
Yeah.
But
and drinking responsibly in this setting means paying the $2 extra for like a cheap cognac. Or
it is
$6
true
extra
that, like,
dollars.
Real cheap
Armagnac.
liquor will just be like the worst hangover ever sometimes.
Cheap brandy, dude. There's a reason that it looks fancy and it's sold in a $4 bottle.
Yeah.
Because it's trying to kill you. It's not like Mad Dog or anything where it's like, you know what choice you're making here.
Right.
You should just do it. With cheap brandy, it says, "Oh, you see, I'll be gentle with you. I'll love you forever."
What's the
Brandy is a girl's name. Girls are nice.
Yeah, this was all my men going their own way thing. What was that, John?
What's the $4 or $5 handle of scotch? Is it Old Crow?
It's not Scotch. I think it's whiskey.
I think that same company that makes it might be Old Crow, that's the $5 whiskey.
Yeah.
I think they make like a $5 to $10 like scotch. It's like fucking vodka with like caramel coloring and like liquid smoke in it or something.
You know what really cheap liquor I have never regretted buying, outside of the harm that it's done to my relationships, is the $10 Trader Joe's vodka.
Oh, I've never had that.
It's pretty good. No. It's not bad. It comes in a plastic bottle, and it's a handle, like it's a full handle for $10.
Can't be
pretty good. Yeah. Honestly, if I had to be extraordinarily, no, I don't know. There's also X7 vodka, which is also a plastic bottle, and it's a blue bottle, so you know it's gonna be really good. And that shit tastes like turpentine, but something about it gets you more drunk.
I feel like that's the kind of vodka that was like trying to become like a club vodka with its name.
Right, yeah. With the blue like UV looking bottle and the name. Yeah.
It'll look really good in club lighting.
Because it's distilled 7 times, which I feel like is a normal amount. Or also, I don't know how vodka works.
Those are just the worst vodkas, though.
Yeah. Like you can distill garbage as much as you want to. It's still going to be like distilled garbage at the end.
Yeah, right.
Like it's Grey Goose tastes like shit.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's like when someone walks up to you and says, "Hey, man, I got this poem for you to read. I rewrote it 7 times." You know it's gonna be like, "Oh man, all right." I know what I'm in for.
I feel like you just mythologized distilling a little bit by relating it to poetry. Like,
well,
that's something that I could see, like, I don't know, like a promotional video for a scotch. Like, making scotch is a lot like poetry. You gotta start with words and.
I mean, to be fair, so we find ourselves in a paradox here, right? Where I feel like people would find it just as pretentious if I tried to explain why poetry is good by comparing it to alcohol.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that
So,
too. Like,
so we're stuck in a loop.
Poetry is
Where-
like a good scotch. It's rich and smoky.
We're just not allowed to like anything.
Made in Scotland.
Made in Scotland. Only Irish. Thank you. Still the best poets in the world. I don't understand. Well,
Irish
no.
poets, well, they made some.
We
good
have
ones.
South Americans now.
South
Like in the
American
last
poets?
5 years, we invented South America.
Oh, really?
No. Those
Go
are the two
on.
places that like really good poetry comes from, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's-
like
Boats in
within the
South
last 100
America.
years. Yeah,
I feel like good poetry comes from disenfranchised communities.
for sure.
Is that
But
why?
then-
Is that why the spoken word club from Harvard fucking sucks?
Yeah, and that's why Rupi Kaur is terrible.
Right. Yeah, dude, never mind. I'm not going to go off on a whole thing with this. This isn't supposed to be our poetry night.
Yeah.
Um,
This isn't poetry night.
I canceled that this week so I could be in a coma.
Yeah, fair enough.
No.
Let's go to some recent event news. And then later on we'll talk about our favorite stories of the year. I don't know if John picked one out, but
Yeah, no,
I did, Danko.
I didn't get that memo. Yeah.
I did. Well, it was in the chat for a while. So.
Oh yeah.
There are only 3 of us.
There's only 3 of us in there, and you wrote a message after I put that in the chat. So
I did that.
this
to
is
my
a very
boss last
flimsy
night.
excuse.
I don't see how you expect me to go back through the chat.
Well, it was literally the ones directly above your message, but I get it. You look forward, not behind.
That's
in
true.
life.
That's true.
Yeah. So COVID's out of control.
Hell yeah, world records, right?
Whoops. Yeah. So this article is a couple of days old. If we could actually just maybe Google search COVID cases per
Man, this
day.
guy's face, he looks like he's on like Comedy Central.
Well,
Cases
it's-
US.
yeah.
World Reports is good.
Oh yay. Is
What?
as high as it's ever been?
Yes. No.
Oh, yeah.
this
No,
is
higher
the
than
new
it's ever
record.
been.
Yeah.
Oh nice.
The article I had, we were approaching the record, and then
Like 600,000? Is that right?
no, the record was like 350,000 or something like that. We smashed it the other day with like
Yeah, but we're
485, and now we're near 600,000.
approaching 600. Yeah. 585,013 people. Woo!
Now, I'm no mathematician.
Hmm.
There's somewhere around 350 million people in the United States. So, you know,
So yeah,
it's an inevitability at this point. I think it's just like a foregone conclusion. Like everybody gets
Spilling over
chicken
that-
pox when they're little. Now
Right.
everybody gets COVID-19 forever and ever.
Well, eventually it'll be a new COVID.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's like
you
a
know,
new
that's
COVID
something
every week.
I don't get. People are like, well, you know, the CDC is saying that, you know, the incubation time and like the transmissibility time is different with Omicron, and it's like maybe, but how do you even do that research in such a short time span?
Yeah.
Secondly, Omicron, if you believe it's real in the first place, you understand that Omicron is a variant. How do variants happen? Mass spread. Mutations
Yep.
happen during that spread. So who's to say that this is just going to be Omicron and then nothing else develops new out of it? We've seen this happen. What Omicron is, how many Greek letters in the alphabet? I'm not a fucking nerd. I don't know.
It's like 21 or something.
Right,
It's
so-
fewer.
So, you know, we're pretty far along in the Greek alphabet. It's going to be weird when we start seeing COVID Alpha 2.
Let's start using all the different
Well-
Chinese alphabets.
Man,
Right.
who knows
Oh.
any of those though?
It's also so here's something that's concerning to me because I don't actually know how they do this alphabetization thing, because Omicron is pretty fucking far into the alphabet.
I believe there's been that.
It's towards
variants.
the end.
Yeah, no, I know.
Is that a sign?
It is a sign that
Are we
maybe...
going to find the Omega variant and just like the world shuts off?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. From what I know, and this could be wrong, and I don't care to research it because it's New Year's Eve and fuck it. I believe they've been going sequentially through the Greek alphabet.
That's what I initially believed, but
because it was alpha, and then like beta was like some weird thing that didn't last for very long, and then delta.
Was beta a thing? Because my impression was, and this is probably me overthinking things, was that delta, they just meant it's the variant that's changed, and then from there
change.
Well, no, like it's the new variant. So this is the it's the delta variant. So this is the variant that we've discovered, and then we'll never have to worry about another variant again because
how many variants have there been?
I don't know.
No, that's what I'm telling John to type in.
But that was my assumption at first, which I think is dumb, but it was my genuine assumption. So yeah, but I don't know. I'm going to do this wrong, but alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, psi, omicron, pi, phi, chi, psi, omega, I think. So that's how fucking deep we are.
I don't care what they think I need to know.
Well, that's the problem.
Just how many COVID variants are there?
Yeah.
9 variants.
What you need to know.
Yeah, well, didn't it say it up there?
Where?
Or up. It said something about 9 variants.
I can't go up anymore.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the stream, not the you.
Oh, yeah.
I provide you.
I'm stupid. Down, I suppose. Then continue going down if we don't see the thing about how there were 9. I don't know. Maybe I misread.
Well, yeah. So like there are 10 variants. There's variants of concern. Variants being monitored.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 10 variants being monitored. So yeah, I think this is sequentially all the way to Omicron in the Greek alphabet. Per my understanding, there's some that like just kind of like don't actually do much, so we don't care about them. And then yeah, we're to Omicron. So we have the understanding that we have this many variants of COVID already. Now we're allowing wildfire spread.
Which is dope.
Yeah, which is super cool. I don't even know what the fucking symbol for Omicron is.
Yeah, I wish they would just
to be perfectly honest. Oh, there we go. Got it listed here.
Epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota.
This all sound made up.
Omicron.
And Omicron's just right.
The 15th. So there's been, and then unless there's been subvariants of these 15, we know there's at least 15.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool.
So let's go ahead and go to the next that one. The CDC recently came out with new guidance. And instead of 10 days of quarantine, they're doing the very scientific 5 days of quarantine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which was
5 business days.
I don't think that's what they're saying.
It should be.
It would be better if it was 5 business days.
I mean, that's ultimately what they mean, though, right? Like that's why they're saying 5 days. So you can only miss so much work.
Take a week off of work, and if you're a person that only works 5 days a week,
right?
Some people work more than
that. Many people.
Yeah, lots of people actually work more than that. The way that this 5-day quarantine period seems to be reached, the CDC says there's science that's backing this up, but from what I know, they didn't actually like release any of their like study findings or anything like that. They just kind of said, no, trust us. The science is there. And then the real thing that I think happened is just before Christmas, Delta Airlines CEO asked for the CDC to reduce it from 10 days to 5 days because they knew that they were going to have to start canceling flights near Christmas, which is bad, and it hurts their profit margin, and airlines are little fucking babies, and all their money that they actually make in profit just goes to a bunch of shareholders. That's why they couldn't last a whole fucking week through like the initial lockdowns when COVID first came, and started infecting people. But Dr. Fauci here, liberal king, just kind of lays it out in like really bare terms. He uses society as a stand-in for economy, but I think it's pretty obvious what he's saying. So if we could make this full screen and watch a very cool guy, Dr. Fauci, scientist extraordinaire, tell you to die for the economy.
Dr. Fauci,
he is the most attractive 70-year-old, though, isn't he?
Sexiest man alive, almost, I think.
Let's begin with these new CDC guidelines. Why is the CDC now changing these recommended isolation times for people who test positive for the virus but don't have symptoms? I guess the simple question is, why now?
Well, the reason is that with the sheer volume of new cases that we are having and that we expect to continue with Omicron, one of the things we want to be careful of is that we don't have so many people out. I mean, obviously, if you have symptoms, you should not be out. But if you are asymptomatic and you are infected, we want to get people back to the jobs, particularly those with essential jobs, to keep our society running smoothly. So I think that was a very prudent and good choice on the part of the CDC, which we spent a considerable amount.
Like I said, he uses society as a stand-in for economy.
Yeah.
To keep our society running smoothly. You know, the very smooth running society where everyone's sick or like infecting each other. The society that really matters, which is the society of doing jobs. Many of which we learned over the last year to have indicators as, you know, essential or non-essential. Probably a lot of these societies that are being run smoothly are non-essential work. Some might say.
Yeah.
Just the naked admission, though, right? It just sucks.
Yeah, and I assume that their excuse would be that Omicron is at least theoretically a lot less lethal, though more contagious, which also gives me this weird conspiratorial kind of thought that maybe they are trying to do like a herd immunity thing, but also that's not going to work. And also they would probably do it in an even more craven way if that's what they wanted. So yeah, I think they're just dumb, lazy, and fucking Delta Airlines has more power than people's lives do.
They've given up.
I think that's it. Yeah.
They've given up. They don't care.
I mean, hasn't mostly everyone given up at this point in time?
Well, yeah. I mean, at this point now we just, like I said earlier, it's a foregone conclusion. Everybody's gonna get chicken pox. Everyone's gonna get COVID-19 at some point,
which is amazing. I mean, I'm glad we talked about interpassivity last week, so we don't have to bring it up again. I think it was last week, but wow, that shit rules. It's really cool.
I don't think there's more to this clip, but we can roll it out because it's not much longer anyways.
All right.
Of time discussing, namely getting people back in half the time than they would have been out, so that they can get back to the workplace doing things that are important to keep society running smoothly.
Jesus.
Yeah. So we got Omicron. People back in half the time. Like, okay, by legitimate means.
Yeah. No. It makes it seem like they've done something other than just like change, like, which like are these numbers and amounts of times arbitrary, or are they not?
It reminds me of a bullshit tactic that I used when I was in Afghanistan. All right, when I got to Afghanistan, I was one of like 2 technicians that worked on a certain kind of radio system in Afghanistan, and the people that were there before me had like a small team, and it was kind of just me when I was there on my first deployment. And what I did was I cut the repairable time in half. So basically, like, a radio would come in and enter some sort of status of repaired or like completed in like 50% of the time that it normally would. And what I was doing is, because I was completely overwhelmed by the workload I had, is I would just like take a bunch of parts out of one radio, put a bunch of bad parts into that radio to where it's like completely unfixable, and like the economic like repair of it would not even be viable anymore, and then I would just send it back to the manufacturer. So I
There
was
you
just
go.
like chop shopping radios, and like, yeah, I cut it in half because I was like doing everything the wrong way. So that's what they're doing here is they're chop shopping workers.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is also the kind of thing that you end up seeing in literally every workplace, right? Is this tendency to book cook, right?
Yeah.
And it's just so funny that this is just what our society
We live in one.
is composed of, is a whole bunch of people lying about their numbers so that the next person can lie about their numbers, and it just explodes exponentially into, you know, this fucking nightmare. It rules. It's very cool.
It's
all
very
because like
good.
one guy working at a fucking Lowe's ended up having to lie about the amount of, I don't know, window repairs that he was able to sign up people for, HVAC reinstalls, tune-ups, and it leads all the way up to Fauci and then back down.
Yeah. Love it. Glad to see it. Wouldn't it be weird if Joe Biden around the same time had conflicting I don't know, quarantine timelines that he's talking about?
Yeah,
so let's go to the next link.
Hold on, I'm getting really sick of this shit with the podcast where all we do is make fun of old dementia patients. It's
like 80%
distasteful
of what we do.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with it anymore, you know, because I've dealt with this personally, and you know, it's just
you've dealt with being a dementia patient.
No, just with shitting on them. And you know, it's just, I don't know. I don't know if I like it anymore, man.
I like that look on Joe Biden's face. That's like, I did not just shit myself.
Yeah, it looks like he shit right into his old person diaper.
No, that's
mid
the look
honestly.
The look that I was reading it as was the I am in the bed oval off. Where am I exactly? Oh, wait. Keep a straight face. You got this. You're in the bathroom.
Very natural. Very natural for someone this old and like clearly mentally like declining to be in charge of an entire country.
Yeah.
I'm almost saying that sarcastically, but then like I know how like empires and power work. So like, yeah, actually, this has probably happened a couple of times.
This is normal stuff.
This is actually normal, which is the thing that should concern us.
Because he's imbued with power. He doesn't actually produce it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the most doddering fucking idiot that we can find is going to be the perfect vessel.
That is a good clarification to make. Not that he's necessarily powerful, but he's been given a seat of power, imbued with power, doesn't actually do anything with that power, so he's not actually powerful. He's just there.
He's just snail trailing like the rest of us.
So if we could zoom in on the article, Biden, around the same time that the CDC decided, no, 5 days is fine. This is actually like 3 days after the CDC said 5 days is fine. Biden says COVID quarantine will stay 10 days for non-medical workers. That's not true, obviously, because
accidental heroism.
Yeah, so President Biden said Friday that the recommended quarantine period for most Americans who test positive for COVID-19 will remain 10 days, despite the at-home period being cut to just 7 days for healthcare workers 1 day before. So wrong on both counts. Nice work.
Yeah.
I just listened to my team and the docs, and they think we should keep it the way it is for now," said Biden in a response to a reporter's question after he joined a NORAD Santa tracking call. Please kill us.
That's
Jesus Christ.
I mean,
on
that's
Christmas Eve.
an old thing. That's a
I
thing.
know, but come on, like we're in a bad spot right now. Do we need to do the do we need to do the Santa tracker?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I think it's a dumb thing to start with, but like you don't just pause all of these things just because things are bad. That's the time to keep them going, right?
I guess so.
Well,
Sorry, John.
It's more wholesome
should
than it
you-
is not. Go ahead, John. Sorry.
Well, then should you be mixing? Like, I don't know the context of when they asked him about this, but
Well,
like,
it was
this be
during
the
that
time?
call, so yeah.
So it's
That's
like in the middle of tracking a fictitious character, Joe Biden had like a senile moment and answered a bunch of questions about what's going on in the world.
Speaking of that call, something funny happened during it. But we can go to the next link before we get to that. So
there you go. There's Betty. There's Betty right there on the
Yeah.
side.
you're looking at the stream still, aren't you?
Yeah,
I just glanced at it. I was flicking through some things.
Yeah. So this is from the Biden campaign, like COVID-19 response plan. Provide clear and consistent evidence-based national guidance for how communities should navigate the pandemic, and the resources for schools, small businesses, and families to make it through. Also, there is a test shortage now, which could have easily been foreseen once Omicron was first detected as being highly contagious. Maybe we needed to order more. Now the Biden administration is saying, like, next year we're gonna have a ton of tests for you guys. Don't worry.
Also, really quick point about the tests is that they, like many medical tests, can only tell you when you're positive.
Yes.
Right. They can't reliably tell you if you're negative. And
Right.
so if you end up taking a test and you are engaged with people or planning to engage with people that are things like immunocompromised or something like that, you should still quarantine.
True.
At least from them.
Yep. Don't kill your friends or your loved ones. Basic
For some of us, the same thing, Mike.
guidance. Well,
I'm saying I love you.
oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
I love you too, John. I love all of you. I love you, listener. Kinda. I don't know. We'll talk.
I would not.
I'll text you.
Yeah,
I'll talk. You'll listen.
So during that call, something funny happened, and I hate again to. New year, new me. All right, I'll stop making fun of the person who has clear sundowning syndrome next year. We're still in 2021 though, so
sundowning is a symptom, Michael.
whatever. Yeah, well, you're not a medical professional, so you can't tell me what Joe Biden has. So I'm just looking at the symptoms. I can see the symptoms, and one of them is shitting your pants, and the other one is sundowning.
I used to take care of dementia patients. I used to.
Yeah, but you were told. What
Now
the
I make fun of them.
diagnoses were.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Can we go to the next link, John, please? For God's sake, man. So
Look at those. Look at those beautiful mask wearing. Just anyway. Sorry.
I don't know if Biden's staff hasn't been like showing him the news or what, but like I would say pretty much everyone in America understands that "Let's Go Brandon" is Brandon.
Oh yeah.
Brandon is a euphemism for fuck Joe Biden. It's incredibly childish and dumb. If you're someone saying "Let's go Brandon," please just say fuck Joe Biden. I say it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Let's do it.
everyone else on
Let's
this
do it.
pod. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Fuck Joe Biden.
Yeah, in
look at
unison.
that.
Nice work, guys.
Beautiful. Yeah. You can tell we're
It's
all
like we choreographed that.
We're like anarcho adjacent. You can tell.
Yeah.
We can't do shit together.
He's not gonna tell me when to start saying "fuck
Yeah.
Joe Biden."
I'll say whatever I want.
My
We're all
natural,
gonna count
my
at different
natural
times.
inclination will.
Gotta check on my mushrooms.
But you'd think that Joe Biden would, of all people, would know that "Let's Go Brandon" is a euphemism for "fuck Joe Biden."
Oh,
So this is during the Santa tracker call, where he earlier talked about how the quarantine restrictions will stay the same even though they aren't. Somebody calls in and gets him to say something. John, if you would like to play this, please.
Daughter. Can't bring her granddaughter.
Oh my gosh.
And how about Penelope?
Well, Penelope, she's only 2, so I think she'd be happy with just about it.
Oh, that's great.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful that you have a 2-year-old. Well, have a Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful Christmas.
And by the way, you guys have to be in bed by 9 o'clock, and asleep between 9 and 12, or he doesn't show up.
This isn't to you, Jared. This is to the kids.
That's right.
Well, I hope you have a wonderful
Hey,
Christmas.
well, yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas as well. Merry
Thank you.
Christmas, and let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree. Hey, by the way, where are you in Oregon?
We can just pause it there.
Where's your home?
It's an awkward call, of course, because
Yeah.
At first, I thought what was happening was just I can't get angry on live television, so I'm just going to play along with it thing. But no.
Well, yeah, no.
No,
His wife knows what it means. You can tell that she knows.
You
what
can
it
tell
means.
her expression was like,
Yeah.
one of those.
Well, yeah, I
she's
mean, look
now
at her
she's going-
paused right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now she's
Yeah.
going, oh shit, fucking Biden's brain is about to turn to fucking seafoam. So he doesn't fucking know what's fucking going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, all he can think about, he probably read Oregon on the screen just now, and now he's got some fucking story about Oregon.
One time I was in Oregon, me and my buddy Cracker Jack.
6 of my slaves were from Oregon. Back in the day when it was legal, of course.
Yeah.
No, I'd never own a slave now that it's illegal.
No, yeah. Well, we believe in.
I believe in the rule of law. Yeah.
Oh, ooh.
Nice.
Yeah,
See, that's
yeah.
unison.
That was our like New Year's Eve kiss right there.
I don't have to work on getting one tonight. I don't have to pretend I like getting one.
Yeah. Weird. Let's go to the next link, which is Dorian's favorite moment of the year.
So hold on. It was until Mike reminded me of other things that happened this year, because I thought they happened last year or the year before, because time is terrifying now. I'm not going to spoil what they are.
Thank you.
Stop looking at me like that, Mike. I know what I've done already during this episode. But this is, at least because the best choices have been chosen by Mike, and I agree with them, this is my honorable mention.
Oh, this is my favorite moment of the year. Didn't we share this on the podcast?
Yeah, we did.
Have the same favorite moment.
See, this is just cascading. But I'm glad that we all agree on so much of this.
Yeah, no, I was actually feeling kind of depressed and down about
watched it.
Yeah, well, no, when I first came across this fucking I was a wreck after this.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah.
How much of it do we want to watch? Because it's long. I'm happy to watch the whole thing again.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a shorter episode regardless, I think. So we could probably watch a fair bit of it, honestly.
Let's go. Let's go, Brandon.
We've already run through the specifics of this clip, so you want to watch.
Yeah, so we could just watch through.
Yeah, I mean the listener now probably has seen this before.
Can we promise to one another not to speak as it plays out then?
Yeah. Well, for let's try to make it to 5 minutes.
Okay. Deal.
We'll see.
3, 3, 5. We'll see.
Pause it. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, turn around. Let me see your hands. Turn around. Let me see your hands. Okay, let me see your hands. I need to see some ID. Get on the ground. Get on the ground now. Get on the ground. Get on the ground now.
I'm a federal agent.
917-110-3.
I'm a federal agent.
Get on the ground.
Get on the ground. I'm a federal agent.
Why wouldn't you show me your ID when I got here? Don't move forward.
You didn't ask for it.
He is at 335.
Get on the ground. We'll figure it out.
On that 10-8.
Not getting on the ground.
Well, then stay where you're at.
I'll stay where I'm at.
Fine. Why do you got to make this harder than it is?
Listen, I'm not getting on.
I have no problem making this.
I just want to see if anybody from 3 Precinct can respond as well.
You're the one overreacting.
I'm not overreacting. We got a call that someone's impersonating a police officer out here who doesn't have ID.
No kidding, because she doesn't want to open it.
Okay, get on the ground so I can find out who you are.
It ain't happening.
Okay, fine. Fine. Do you think I'm a police officer or something? What the heck's the matter with you? Who do you think you are? Get on the ground!
I'm not getting on the
Chopper, thanks.
I'm not getting
91-7, I'm pulling up.
I got my ID.
Do not reach for your waist! Keep your hands up!
Why would I ever
Keep your hands up!
Sir! Don't argue! Face down! On the ground! Face down now! Face down!
You guys are making a big mistake.
Fine, we'll settle that second. Settle it. Face down now! All the way down! All the way! All the way.
You got my IDs right here, left pocket. Left.
And we're gonna put your arm behind your back, sir.
Wait a sec.
Do not resist!
I'm not resisting.
You're acting like a moron!
Wait a second. Stop. Wait a second. Wait a second. Don't do this. Wait a second. I got a medical condition. Get my license out of my pocket.
We're getting you secured!
Please, wait. No, whoa. Hold on. I'm hyperventilating. Please. Wait, please, sir. I'm
resisting.
I'm not.
Stop resisting.
Would you
now.
please get my ID out of my left pocket?
Stop.
I'm begging you. My wife's pregnant. Please. It's right here.
Resist.
Please get it. Wait, sir, help me up. Just hold me up. Sir, I can't do it. Wait. Sir!
Stop resisting now!
Please help me. Sir, please get my
my
federal creds!
Get your taser out, Joe.
No, don't do that, please. Sir!
Don't make me tase you!
You're gonna get tased. Put your right arm behind your back.
Okay.
Put your right arm behind your back
Help me up.
now. No.
Help me up.
No, you're gonna stay on the ground and put your right arm behind your back.
Let me breathe.
You can
I'm
breathe
gonna.
just fine.
I'm gonna. Ow, don't do that. Okay, here. My God!
Get him cuffed!
It is cuffed! Please stop!
Get him cuffed!
Please stop, sir! Wait a second! Sir! Please help me up! Please! I'm a federal agent! My God, my gun, my
You have
pistol!
no idea what you are, acting the way you are.
Sir!
Who the heck do you think you are acting like
Nobody! I wanted you to see my goddamn creds! The lady was freaking out, for Christ's sake! Oh. Sir, please! Please! My God! Sir!
Roll over. Sit up.
It's in my goddamn
Sit up.
showed her my
Sit up.
creds!
Let him sit up. Let him
I
sit up.
showed her my goddamn creds, for Christ's sake! Right there, left pocket. Left pocket, cargo pocket. Please take it out.
Stay. Don't try and
Guys,
sit
I
up.
get it. I fucking get it.
Then you should have
Why
behaved
would
the
you
way
act the way you did?
Yes, I
hell
wanted
with
you
you?
to see my creds, for Christ's sake. My God, I'm here to fucking talk
No,
to
you're the one that's in the wrong.
Sir.
You know if you have interaction with the police, you obey commands.
Sir, I was trying to get
No, you didn't obey any command.
Sir, I'm with you guys, for Christ's sake. I'm a fucking federal agent.
Who's your supervisor? What's his name? What's your supervisor's name?
Hang on a second. The SAC is currently John McPherson, who's on his way out to retire, who will soon be rolling.
I took the mag out.
My God. This is crazy.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Stand up.
I'm
Stand
not
up.
trying to be ashamed of myself.
Come on, sit
I
back in
think
the
what
cruiser.
you're saying, let me see
Get in the
your
car.
creds.
Get in the car.
Sir, please.
You gotta see the back of the cruiser.
My God. Sir, I'm just trying to do my goddamn
Just get in the
job.
car. Why would you make us do this?
I didn't want you to. I wanted to. Wait.
Oh, he's holding. I'm locking the door.
Relax.
Hold him.
Hey, guys, please, just talk to me for 1 second. Please.
Can we pause?
No, wait.
Talk later.
Sir, wait.
You had your chance.
No, I was trying to give you my
Yeah, we can
creds.
pause it
You didn't
now.
let me show
I
it
think
to
it's
you.
been
I
5
did.
minutes.
Wait,
Get in there. Have a seat.
Wait.
Now.
Have a seat.
Please.
No, never mind. I'm sorry.
no, you
I made
fucked it
seconds
up.
early. No, I broke
It's
my
okay.
own
This is
rule.
pretty good.
I broke my own rule, and just like the government, I've oppressed myself now. Oh man, I don't know if I made this joke last time, but we've all played like Pokemon on Game Boy or whatever, right?
Of course.
And like when your Pokemon's like all fucked up and like you make it do a move and like it hurts itself in its own confusion. That's what the government is doing here. The government has oppressed itself in its own confusion.
Also, I just figured this out in my head in a really obvious way, and maybe no one cares about this. And well, maybe I'm wrong. So you two knowing more about electrical currents and stuff probably could tell me if I'm right or wrong with this. But admittedly, giving it very little thought before, I always wondered why cops touching people who were being tased didn't get tased themselves. And I think I have an answer. So tell me if this is correct, because it was weird watching this man be held down while he was being tased. It's simply that, so there are the two barbs, and electricity just follows the shortest path between the two. And so in order to get secondhand tased, you'd have to touch them between the barbs, right?
Yeah.
Is that more or less correct?
Yes and no a little bit.
Yeah,
Also,
yes and no.
there's so much meat between the two of them that like there's enough resistance in that meat. Like yeah, the body is conductive, but also it has like a certain amount of resistance to it, like everything.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So it follows the path of least resistance, and that's not going to make it all the way to another cop.
Right.
It's also why like oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say when you're working with voltages as high as like a defibrillator, that's why people say clear, because it's actually powerful enough that it can transfer to you. That's just powerful enough to lock up your muscles, which doesn't
like I know that if someone is being electrocuted by like a fucking like an industrial wire or something, you don't want to touch them.
Oh no.
For like obvious reasons.
No, yeah.
And so
when you're working in that capacity, usually you have some kind of like pole with a hook on it to like literally grab people and like hook them away from voltage if they're getting smoked out.
Yeah, I've seen that, and it's so I finally I don't know. I don't know why this has been such a weird, unthought of puzzle in the back of my head for so long, but I am sure someone listening to this someday will wonder the same thing. So that was fun. That was fun.
You know, to also make the point, like I said, it's enough to make your muscles lock up is what the purpose of a taser is.
Right, but it's not supposed to be so intense it like spreads through your whole body and stops your heart.
It's usually non-lethal. It's lethal if you have certain medical conditions, which is why it's not.
I mean, also how they shoot people directly in the chest is one of the most lethal ways that they use
because you're going across the heart. Exactly.
Right.
And obviously the guy was able to still talk while he was being tased.
That was something that was remarkable to me as well.
So it's not making it to all of the muscles in his body. It's just like probably local. It's probably and what's stupid about it is you know
they were just torturing him. When you take
they were just torturing
off,
him because
it's just painful at that point.
Yeah, the conductivity of things. It's not actually reaching his arms at that point, so he was still able to move his arms and his legs.
Yeah,
because it's just kind of like in that localized lower back area that's being shocked. So they're just like unnecessarily causing him pain for the sake of like, I don't know, convincing him to be subdued.
Here's a weird also electricity used by cops thing, and it's maybe more or less justified. I don't know. But there was I think his name was Eng case in the US. This is when we were kids, like in 99. But it was in like San Francisco, where this guy and someone else like serial killed a bunch of people. And they had him because of what they referred to as a violent outburst. And from like the footage that I've seen of it was pretty much just him saying like, I don't want a trial, and then getting like huffy in his seat. They put in like an electroshock belt on the man for the rest of the trial, which is like, I understand this man maybe serial killed people, and they assumed that they decided at the end that he did, and I think that he did do it. But like, it's crazy that they have something like that on hand.
Yeah.
So like, here's your electroshock belt for the courtroom, just in case you start saying shit to like that's disrespectful to the judge.
They actually had to buy that from like Adam and Eve, though.
Yeah, no, they just picked it up from the SF Armory.
Well, because we've given like we've come up with this idea that like that cops and prison guards or whatever know what the fuck they're doing. Like,
no,
like that, like they have some kind of trade, you know, or some kind of actual fucking skill.
Right.
So they say, well, we need a fucking chair made out of metal that we can fucking strap a guy to naked and blast him with a hose or fucking electrocute this chair when we need to.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's one of
the... Then people just trust that. They're like, oh, they know what they're doing.
That's been one of the themes for the podcast. Like we're kind of coming at it from two sides, where, you know, whenever we bring Teddy on, we're careful to point out like people aren't stupid and people have never been stupid, right? But on the flip side of that, it's like this way of tempering this sociological view is that even people that know what they're doing don't really know what they're doing. And so the people that we have in those like intermediary or like shitty positions, like cops, like definitely don't know what they're doing. And so you have this place where like really no one should have extraordinary amounts of authority.
Right. We should that was going to be the point I was going to make. It's not that, you know, somebody who is a cop can be an intelligent person.
Sure. But it doesn't necessarily
the problem
mean
is that they are involved in an institution that requires a certain amount of intentional stupidity at some point. To not think about why you're patting down only black people in the city, to not think about why you're, you know, pulling somebody over and having this unnecessary interaction with somebody who has a broken taillight when you can just like look up their license plate and send them a fucking letter like, hey, your light's out.
Or you know what would be great? Instead of buying them a $5,000 taser that I'm sure only has a certain year shelf life, let's buy them 5,000 tail light bulbs.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Sure. And I do believe, despite, you know, also believing something which tempers it, which I've already kind of established, which is that people like generally aren't stupid, historically or otherwise, but that because there's this weird thing that has happened with capital over the last 500 years, where we're now expected to be absolutely competent in our professions, but I don't think human beings are really built that way, where you can have expertise in something
for sure. Yeah.
But even then, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're competent in all of its applications or anything, right? I mean, we see that with engineers in our building episodes, things like that. And I'm sure, you know, as intelligent as both of you are, and as smart as I feel that I am with the other shit that I do, that you guys find yourselves in situations working where you're just kind of like trying to fit odds and ends together and you don't kind of know what you're doing, but you figure it out. Right. And so that's that you can view that as both competence, but also a basal amount of incompetence that I think everyone is constantly dealing with. And this basal incompetence compounds with authority and with people kind of feeding these interactions through one another, where it just compounds itself. And people don't recognize often enough that even this well-organized society that we have is one that functions mostly off of people guessing on absolutely everything that they do.
Well, and that's why police work is so inherently flawed, because you're you know, when I'm having to do a little bit of guesswork in my job, which I've transitioned more back into a technician role now. I'm happy about, because I prefer that over desk work. Everything is just abstract forms that I'm filling out.
Yeah.
But you know, whenever I'm like having to think about like like wiring up a set of lights or something like that, um John and I were actually talking about this before you joined the call. um but he was wiring up some lights for some people, and he had to take the voltage to a 12-volt power supply or whatever, and this, that, and the other. It's fun to kind of like think through these problems, but in a role like John and I's, we're given the actual time to think through that problem of like,
Yeah.
what should I do here? What's the solution, etc. When you give somebody a gun and a badge and you tell them to like go out and like fight crime, and you don't like necessarily specify what crime is, like the average police officer doesn't know what every crime in the world is.
Right.
Or doesn't know like what every specific law is. And so a lot of it is just their internal judgment, but also placed in a position where they're having to make that call on the fly.
Yeah.
That's why he immediately pulls his gun out when he doesn't see an ID, even though there's like no reason that an ID would even be producible at the range he's at. Like I could hold up a card and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, you got an ID out." Oh,
he also changes his mind in there, right? Where it's okay, get on the floor or get on the ground. No, I'm not going to get on the ground. Okay, then stay there. Okay, I will. Okay, good.
Now get on the ground.
Okay, now get on the ground. Yeah.
So you place somebody in a position of authority where they can't actually like be authoritative in a competent way, because there is no competence in this regard. Like there's no perfect way to approach this, and this isn't to excuse the police necessarily, because maybe just don't be a fucking asshole to everybody you come across.
Yeah.
But also you're putting them in a position where their job is to be an asshole to everybody that they come across. So
yeah, a last thing around this, at least from me, is kind of like a piece of personal advice for people, but which maybe you shouldn't take from me. But I find that certain degrees of competency or expertise has a tendency to toxify your interactions with everything else. And what I mean by that is that when you attain expertise in one thing, you begin to feel as if you're an expert in many others. And you see this again with like police. I have a thing. Actually, I think this is a pretty common thing now, where you like watch police interrogations, and like that's part of true crime now, right? If you're a fan of true crime, you watch or listen to a lot of these things. And one of the weird things is that all of these cops think that they're psychologists, and they are really willing to make judgments on like, well, this person wasn't crying after their wife died, and so they probably killed their wife, when like people grieve in all sorts of different ways. And so having expertise or competence in one thing has a tendency to make you feel as if you're an expert in everything else. And that's one of the reasons, on top of it just making you a more interesting, well-rounded person, that I feel like the like Renaissance person or jack of all trades or whatever kind of way of approaching life is maybe healthier for not just individuals, but for the environments that they find themselves in. Where if you have a bit of experience with everything and just a basal level of competency with the things that you do, that you're willing to be like humble about most of those things, but you're also able to get shit done, instead of being like, oh no, I got a degree in basket weaving, and so now I know how physics works. It's it drives me nuts. People who were just like too focused on one thing, and I'm saying this is like the theory nerd, but branch out, guys.
A lot of tradespeople, like when they get together, like everybody brings what little like, oh, I was a plumber for a year but hated it, but let's bring that information to the table,
Yeah.
Like, and we solve a problem instead of like whatever the fuck's going on here, creating fucking problems.
Yeah,
which actually, I do.
Go ahead.
I do think that cops like intentionally create problems. I think
also true. Yeah.
Like they intentionally try to like it's like a tactic, like the screaming at somebody. Like they scream at somebody because they're trying to provide some type of shock to their fucking central nervous system or something.
Well, yeah.
Or
And also
get them
imagine,
to
like,
capitulate.
right.
But then somebody like me, somebody fucking screams at me, fucking it pulls up my fight or flight fucking reflexes, which might be fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you scream at somebody and they run, or they scream at somebody and then they turn to you aggressively, and then now you've created a worse situation.
Right. And that, and like, imagine, I mean, my job is pretty boring a lot of the time, right? Like, I deal with like data sheets. But I can't imagine how, right. I can't imagine how boring a cop's job must be most of the time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so,
yeah,
like driving along the same highway again and again and again, you know, and like stopping by the
Busting
midnight
the same
donut shop.
perps.
Yeah, busting the same repeat offenders, which we just can't get off the streets because the liberals. But you know, like, so you know that even, yeah, they just want to start shit too, right? Like, there's a reason they have guns.
Well,
So
also,
they can have fun with them.
they have an incentive to arrest people.
Also
you
true,
know,
yeah.
they I mean, there's lots of different reasons that they want to arrest someone. There was a study that came out that showed that like a high percentage of arrests, like the majority of arrests, happen at the end of a cop shift, because that's a way
Right.
that they can get a ton of overtime by, you know, having to go through like the 3-hour processing like fiasco once they take the person in and like have to do all the paperwork or whatever.
Or to feel like they did something.
Or to feel like they did something, and you know, quotas are a problem, of course. I think quotas still exist in a lot of ways. Like, they're a lot of cities kind of like pulled them back in, but that's still a metric that's used implicitly in how police work is done. Is how many bad guys did you take off the streets?
Right.
So, yeah,
You got to prove to your supervisor you did something.
Yeah.
But you know, a last thing about this, and this might make it sound like I'm kind of over glorifying what's happening with police in uncharacteristic way, but you know, for people that aren't aware, even though I'm pretty sure everyone that's on this podcast right now is extremely aware, the way that something like PTSD or things that are related to PTSD work is that you have some kind of an experience which causes you to have some basal form of anxiety, which your brain is constantly trying to deal with. And it then leads to your body having a fear and anxiety response. And then your brain can't justify what's happening with that. And it causes this weird loop. And so your brain ends up causing your body to stress out more. Your body causes your brain to stress out more. And you're just fucking terrified all the time. It's like, it's the same kind of experience like when you were a kid and you're standing in a hallway where you just turned off all the lights and you don't know what you're afraid of, but you're afraid of it. And you're just fucking running down that hallway. But it's like that all the time to some degree, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that all cops have PTSD, but I'm saying that the way that they're trained to look at their jobs, where like there are people out to get you all the time, probably causes some smaller version of that is constantly looping through them. And so because of the way that they're encultured, they're wandering around being like, what if all these gangbangers hiding in the dumpsters are going to fuck me up? And then they do shit like this.
and I can corroborate that. I feel confident that I'm far enough away from my last job that I can divulge this information. One of my job duties was so I maintain city buildings. I manage their maintenance and, you know, whatever. One of the buildings that I had to manage was a what do you call it? Like a training center that did firefighters, and then also the police used this. Whenever the police would be using that building, the the shit that I would see up on the walls was like alarming to me in such a way that I was like, there's no way that you can like put people through this school this way and have like a good person come out the other side. They would do things like, first off, and it's kind of like something that happens in the military where every, kind of unit like makes their own little standard sort of thing.
Right.
But the cops would always like involve like bullet casings and all their fucking unit standards that they would make. So one of the worst ones I saw was a blue line American flag that somebody had made out of wood, which is like weird that they had such incredible
That's so
woodworking
funny.
skill. And then instead of stars, there was 5 bullet casings where each star would be. And it's like, that's fucking insane. Like you're making the flag and the bullets.
You're not troops, guys.
Right, yeah. You're not, and that's the other part of it is like you're not in a combat zone. You're
Yep.
in America. And then the other thing that was like really alarming to me is they would make these big collages of every officer in the entire country that's been killed in the line of duty. Like while they were walking their beat or responding to a call or something. And it's like, yeah, I guess if you look at the entire nation, you can find
Yeah.
a lot of cops that have been killed, but it's actually not a very dangerous job. Painting
Right.
is literally a more
See,
dangerous
house
job.
painting. Yeah.
That's kind of interesting because that it's almost like they want them more afraid than the Marine Corps one. Like they want us a little.
Yeah.
They wanted us a little afraid, obviously.
Yeah.
Barely afraid.
But they
you know?
also had rules of engagement, and like,
Yeah,
cops
well,
don't seem
and-
to have that a lot of the time.
Right.
like our collages would be every person who had died in combat for 100 years in our particular unit.
Yeah.
So there'd be like 18 people on, or
Right.
there'd be like 6 people on the wall for like a maintenance unit. And then there'd be like, somewhere between, 30 and 80 people on a unit's wall, or maybe more depending on the unit. But it would just be the people from that unit. Like if they
Right.
put, if they like had everybody had one giant fucking collage of
Yeah,
fucking all
and
the
we're
fucking-
talking about the span
like-
of 100 years,
Yeah.
several, major wars, etc.
Yeah, but like that's crazy to have like every cop in existence that has fucking died in the
Oh
year.
yeah, no,
Fucking-
the pictures had to be tiny, and then it would like cover an entire fucking wall.
Yeah.
It was just like,
and I've seen video interactions with like I guess independent journalists of some kind, and then the cops will try to be like, cops die all the time, and they'll be like, a cop died around here, and then they'd be like, well, no, and it's like, when was the last time a cop died in this town? And they'd be like, well, that's not the point, and it's like, no, it is the point. You're in this town,
Right.
what's
So-
funny is firefighters do a very similar thing, where and I'm not gonna shit on firefighters because firefighters provide an actual service, but there is a weird thing of overlap here, because the thin red line flag has started popping up everywhere. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
have seen that.
Well, everyone needs a
Yeah.
fucking flag.
Yeah, but like it'll be like a blue line flag on one side of the car, and then like a red line flag on the
Yeah.
other side, which is like nobody is anti firefighters, so you're not like making a statement by saying I support
Cops
the
are
firefighters."
anti-firefighter.
That's fair. Yeah.
Oh, they will
They
arrest
can
firefighters that try to do their
Oh.
job, but
Yeah,
and without
um,
permission from the cop.
But the thing that I've noticed is because the other thing that training center provided training for was firefighters. Firefighters really glommed on to the whole 9/11 thing.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like every single firefighter was somehow a part of 9/11 in some way.
Yeah.
Every fire station that I managed maintenance for had some kind of like 9/11 tribute in it. It's like,
Right.
bro, we're in California. That's literally the opposite side of the fucking not even just California, San Diego, California. That's polar opposites of America right there.
The version of all this stuff that has driven me crazy for years, and I can't believe it's not brought up more, is the fact that we name highways and freeways like memorial freeways for some cop that died
Yeah.
at some point, whether or not they died violently or in their sleep or after they retired or whatnot. But if you're already like a gung-ho cop who is paranoid and shit all the time, and you're driving down the freeway and it's named after a cop that died.
Right.
How is that going to make you treat the people that you pull over?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's all this weird conditioning to, like I said, you know, looking at how the cops are trained, I was like, there's no way a good person can come out the other side of this. Like, you're making somebody that's meant to interact with people in such a way that violence is going to be a necessity because of how they engage. It's bad, not good. Cops suck. Do we want to watch more of this? We can watch more of this. I don't care. We got time.
It's more of just like these cops realizing that they fucked up and then trying to just like double down and making everything like more official
and bringing like 4 more cars.
Yeah, no, there's like a fucking army of police for this one guy.
But yeah, I figure we've seen enough.
All right, cool.
Also, something that I can't.
I'm gonna turn on the light here.
So like, whether it was me in the military or me now as an electrician, like, so other electricians sometimes arrive on the scene when you fuck up, and then the guys working for the same company even, and they'll come because something happened. And they're like, oh yeah, y'all fucked up. You know, like they know how you fucked up. Everybody will tell you how you fucked up.
Well, it's like trade craft wisdom, you know. You call in the older guy that's like, oh yeah, I've done this same fuck up before. Let me fix it for you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I fucked up in this way. Let's teach everybody how not to fuck up this way again. Yeah. But all the cops that show up at the end of this, they just start fucking patting these guys on the back and telling them like that it's gonna be okay and you shouldn't kill yourself. Like when Kim Porter shot that guy. Fucking they literally right after it happened, he's bleeding to death and not communicating with the other cops that now have the car that he needs medical attention because they were patting each other on the back about how it's gonna fucking be okay.
Hey, we've all shot an unarmed black person. It happens.
Here's a blanket. Let's get you to a safe space and all this other fucking bullshit. And that's pretty much what goes on after this.
Don't worry, man. They'll just they'll give you a paid vacation.
Yeah, you'll get a paid vacation. You'll have to be in charge of the evidence locker because that's what happens when you fuck up.
You didn't kneel on his neck for 9 minutes in front of several cell phone cameras, so you won't be found guilty.
Yeah, you only less than lethally tortured him a bit.
Hell yeah. What else we got?
Well, I'm gonna intersperse this with some more news.
News. I hate news.
There's a big fire in Colorado right now, and you might think to yourself, "Big fire, Colorado? Isn't it winter?" Yes.
Yeah, isn't it supposed to be wet?
Isn't this the time when snow and rain happens, and therefore big wildfires should not be a concern?
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. You're right to have that intuition. It's really bad. This is an article from yesterday. 600 houses have burned down so far. More are probably on the way. It literally the forecast is snow like for today for like the area that the fire is in. So we have a situation where the ground is on fire and snow is falling from the sky, and you know it's going to help a little bit, but also like the wildfire shouldn't happen during winter. So we don't necessarily need to watch any of this shit that's happening here, but we can go to the next link.
Do we know what percentage contained it is, just off the top of our head?
I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like it's bad though.
Yeah,
I'm
I put these links together last
night.
Yesterday.
Oh right, yeah.
Not very contained is what I would put it at percentage wise. So if we could zoom in on the portion that I have highlighted there, just so I can read. There we go. Wildfire season has become longer based on conditions that allow fires to start and to burn. Winter snows are melting earlier and rain is coming later in the fall. What was once a 4-month fire season now lasts 6 to 8 months.
Hell yeah. Most of the time
anything
is
above,
what you mean.
Yeah, I was gonna say anything above 6 months. We operate on a 12-month calendar. Anything above 6 months is most of the time. This is a new development. For example, fires in recent years have burned well outside the typical fire season throughout California, Arizona, New Mexico, Tennessee, and New Jersey. Fires in the winter months are becoming part of the norm. It's an item of note that it's saying becoming part of the norm. This didn't used to happen. There may be a reason that it's happening now. I don't know. I would maybe say that maybe things are getting warmer and drier and not good in the world. Go down a little bit because the implications of climate change aren't just as simple as like, globe gets hot, everything burns. There's a lot more involved in it. Other factors contributing to longer fire seasons include extended drought, tree mortality from pine beetles and invasive species such as cheatgrass that allow fire to ignite easily and spread rapidly. Added to all this were policies that encouraged aggressive fire suppression for more than a century. These policies had the effect of allowing fuels to accumulate, leading fires to grow in size and intensity. The American government is learning that the native people of America weren't fucking crazy when they would just like burn down a bunch of forest, like, as part of like a ritual. They didn't understand why they were doing this sort of stuff, and now it turns out, they were doing it because if they don't do this, like this is like general land maintenance in this country is what's supposed to happen. Is you just burn down a section of forest and then it doesn't become a fire hazard later. It just burns itself out in that span that you're burning it. But let's go ahead and go to the next link, which is a video of this this fucking like crazy wildfire condition. These people were shopping in Costco, and this fire is spreading so fast because I've heard that there's winds in the area already, and then because of the fire and the intensity of the fire, the winds have like accelerated to like 100 miles per hour in some areas. But this is like the chaos of like people who were minutes ago able to just like go into a Costco and start shopping normally, and now they have to evacuate the Costco.
Yeah. I love the people walking out with their carts.
Yeah.
I hope they did not pay for that.
Yeah. Steal things.
Yeah. Oh, holy shit.
Nice.
Yeah, that ain't fog. That ain't the mist. That's the smoke. And then you're gonna see like the whipping winds here.
Wow. It looks like a tornado.
Yeah, people being battered by the fucking wind and shit.
Yeah, I imagine Colorado has similar problems to Texas because they're very similar geographically, except for Colorado is much more beautiful. But yes,
Colorado has more mountains though, right?
Yeah, all of our mountains are older, decayed mountains, and mostly just in the west part of Texas.
Turns out not everything is bigger in Texas, John.
Nope. In fact, actually, most things are smaller in Texas. Like, it's like everything's bigger in Texas. Fucking, but what? Just like the hats and the guns, really.
Belt buckles.
Our wildlife is smaller. Yeah, bigger belt buckles, boots, and cowboy hats, I guess. Bigger guns for sure. But we have smaller deer, smaller everything.
Cooler dicks.
Smaller trees since we cut them all down.
Oh,
They like trees.
Well, yeah, but stripping them all for pig farms and cattle and ranches is pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say? I think I interrupted you, or somebody interrupted you.
About what?
I don't know. I thought you were working to a greater point.
Oh, just that I was just saying that Colorado, that wildfires in Texas spread super rapidly like this too.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, because of the like Colorado, like Texas, like they get these like bouts of 75 to 100 mile per hour winds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and go to the next there.
Hell yeah.
This is Dorian's link. Not one of his favorite things of the year, but just
No.
the link he produced.
Well, I mean, this is pretty cool in the end. But this guy, I mean, it was this tragedy, but he was a truck driver. He was something like 23 years old, like really young guy. And his brakes gave out, and he ended up getting into this like 85 mile an hour crash with his semi truck, and I think killed 4 people. And they ended up sentencing him to 110 years for this. And they cited some negligence on his part. I guess he didn't like check his brakes enough or something. But ultimately, this is more so, at least in my perception, the responsibility of the company that, you know, was leasing or having him use the truck, right?
Yeah.
And so having a 110-year sentence for something that could have been stopped by the company paying you is pretty fucked up. Especially 110 years for an accident of any sort is pretty fucked up. But finally, after the truckers in Colorado, more Colorado news, ended up essentially threatening to stop trucking through Colorado, the governor finally ended up stepping in and reducing this 110-year sentence to 10 years. So,
which is still life ruining. It should be pointed out.
Yeah. Really fucked up. But this is less of a victory in the basic sense and more of a good note on what a bunch of workers can accomplish.
No, yeah.
They say, hey, fuck that. What are you doing?
Go ahead and roll.
So yeah, we don't necessarily need to watch it or anything, but yeah.
You could watch it a little bit.
I mean, this is just it's an NBC clip. Who cares?
Never mind. You're right.
I gave you all the news you need.
I do. It's also pretty interesting because I guarantee you that, especially in the next 10 years, there's probably going to be programs and these people in charge, like the governors and fucking all these other people that are going to be like, oh, our trucking population is the average age is 65. Yeah. Why won't you fucking become a trucker, young Gen Zers and millennials? You
millennials and Gen Z are killing the trucking industry, is what the headline's going to be.
Because I'm 24, and if I get sentenced to 10 years in prison, it actually fucks up my life. But the other side of that is that, you know, in X amount of years, if it ends up happening, which I assume it'll happen to some degree because it's already started, when we have essentially like algorithm or AI driven trucks which are doing a lot of this work, and one of them goes ahead and kills 4 people because his brakes gave out, the people that were maintaining or owning or programming these trucks are going to see maybe like a fine that they treat as an externality.
Yeah.
No one's going to prison for that.
If anybody's going to go to prison, though, it's going to be the actual technician. It's kind of like like if which it's actually pretty loose, the level of evidence that somebody needs to convict me of negligent manslaughter,
right,
as an electrician. A lot looser than a cop who literally shoots somebody in the face for no reason. But
this guy, 110 years for an accident that killed 4 people, but a cop will kneel on someone's neck, murdering them, and get I don't know how much Chauvin got, but even that's a rarity.
22, I think, or maybe that was the Kim Porter fucking lady.
Or you just get away with it, you know.
Or you just get away with it, like the guy who shot that 14-year-old. I bet you he doesn't get anything for it.
Right. And to be clear, I don't necessarily think we should be putting people in jail for their whole lives in any setting, or like huge chunks of their lives either. Like there are probably better ways to do a lot of this, but yeah.
Yeah, you got to do something like really intentionally bad, I think, for us to reach that point. And your brakes giving out, which like you have no control over as a truck driver driving a leased vehicle. Wherein like the leasing agency like didn't do the proper maintenance, like that's not your fault.
Yeah, I mean, well, the brakes on these things, they can be brand new and they can give out.
Yeah, because they buy the cheapest fucking brakes they can possibly put on this thing to maintain their profit margins. Of course.
You're also in like Colorado, which is I don't know if it's notoriously difficult, but it certainly seems that it would be difficult to drive through for truckers or for kind of anyone. And you have these extremely steep grades and all sorts of different things, which, you know, one of the things that ended up happening when the crash actually took place is he was going 85 miles an hour. But that is something that tends to happen when you're in a giant chunk of steel carrying a bunch of stuff going downhill without brakes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and now too, also with modern nonsense, truck drivers don't. The most almost no new rigs are stick shift.
Oh
yeah, so you can't downshift for that engine compression to slow you down.
Because you could totally like fuck your transmission ultimately and get that thing to fucking stop.
Yeah,
if your brakes go out. But with the automatic, and also they're probably not teaching drivers how their transmissions actually work anymore. I don't know because I've never been through the program. But I do.
I know someone who's going through the program now. I can ask him some questions and get back to all this.
Yeah, actually, that'd be great. Like if there are ways with these automatics, or if they understand even, or if they're teaching people how to properly get the proper gear alignment on their vehicles to reduce the speed.
Right.
I've talked to an old trucker who drove an automatic and
back in my day, horse.
Yeah, no, and he actually switched back to an older model of vehicle that after he had a bad experience like this, his brakes went out. But luckily for him, nobody was on the road. It was the middle of the night, and he just took right turns.
Right.
Definitely in neutral until eventually his truck stopped.
I'm gonna pull a mic because I gotta pee, but continue speaking about trucks or whatnot.
Oh, I was gonna just address the chat. We got Gorbachev OG saying Joe. I think that's Austrian for yo. What's up? Madison says, "What up, buttholes?" Rude.
Yeah.
Gorbachev made fun of the cops' voice cracking, and then HC says, "Oh shit. Sorry I'm late, folks. Been having sex all day. What did I miss?" Yeah, right, first off.
Yeah.
Secondly, Betty White died. That's all we've talked about the entire time is Betty White died.
It is a known fact that all of our viewers are virgins.
Yeah, we wouldn't allow them to watch our podcast stream if they weren't virgins. Like I don't want to have any sex havers in here.
Yeah.
If you're a sex haver, get the fuck out right now. I would like to call attention to my shirt. Got this for Christmas. The UN logo. My partner said that she wanted to give me shirts for Christmas. One of a couple of gifts she got me. So I picked out a bunch of like symbols that I think are troubling or like weird. So I've got the UN logo. Next podcast I'll wear the next shirt. Which may I don't know, invoke some conspiracy theories about me. Who knows?
Conspiracy theories about Mike.
Yeah, conspiracy theories about Michael Deebs.
I'm going to guess that It's a bunch of Klansmen holding hands around a burning cross.
Yeah, I got that on a shirt. Yeah, no, I did not. All right, let's go to the next link, which is my favorite story of the year, which is what should be everybody's favorite story of the year.
It really
pause that
should.
video, because it's going to be interesting to listen to that. But y'all remember when that big ass boat got stuck in the canal?
Yeah, that happened this year.
That happened this year, and so my first choice, I'm gonna go ahead and give you some behind the scenes of how my brain works.
Ooh.
My first choice was when oil actually became negative in price, and that actually happened last year.
20. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I thought that happened this year, and then I was like, nope, that apparently happened in 2020. And so I was like, well, fuck, what was the other like major economic thing that happened that was hilarious to me? The big boat. Of course, the big boat. And I looked it up and I was like, yes, this did happen this year. Which goes to show you like how the compression of time is working right now. Where 2020 and 2021 have kind of blended together, I think, in a lot of ways for a lot of people. Also, this year has been so long that, you know, Dorian saying, "Oh, that happened this year." Oh, fuck. Yes, the big boat got stuck in the Suez Canal. The big boat is the Ever Given,
and it's Ever Given.
Yeah, it's ever given me some fucking pleasure. The long short of it is the free hand of the market swooped in and guided the Ever Given to a sort of horizontal alignment inside the Suez Canal and decided to block everything.
Amazing. And how long did that last in the end? It was a while.
It was like a week and a half.
Yeah, something like that.
A week and a half, 2 weeks, where like everyone in the world was like, get this fucking boat free, but they couldn't get the fucking boat free.
Well, everyone in the world except for the people who were based.
Yeah, everyone in the world except for all the people who were making memes about it.
I was really hoping that they would have to create a new canal to get it out.
Suez too.
Just build a canal around it for now, and we'll work on that later.
And then they would nationalize it, and it would cause another colonial war. So yeah, the Suez Crisis too. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and play this clip. This is a guy talking about like the situation and the economic impacts of big boat stuck in canal.
In the morning, as she was heading northbound, she had a Suez Canal pilot on board, vessel master up on the bridge. The vessel lost power, went dark, according to the ship's agent. Losing power meant losing propulsion. It also meant losing their steering. Suez Canal sees 10% of the world's trade go through it. Every day, 50 vessels on average go through that canal. So the closing of the canal means no vessels are transiting north and south. It is a one-lane canal where the vessel is aground at. So right now, vessels are piling up in Port Suez in the southern end and Port Said in the northern end. And every day the canal is closed, number one, it means that Egypt isn't getting toll money for this. It's about $700,000 for every vessel to go through. But more importantly, container ships, tankers are not delivering food, fuel, manufactured goods to Europe, and goods are not being exported from Europe to the Far East. And this is going to have a massive impact on production, on availability of goods in Europe and in Asia. She's longer than the canal is wide. And so she's jammed in there pretty good. And so it's going to be very difficult to pull her off. And they have to be very careful pulling her off because, again, they've got all that weight in the center of the vessel, and she's not buoyant right now because she's hung up on the edge. So she has a sagging motion to her right now. So they got to be very careful about cracking the vessel and conceivably a catastrophic loss of the vessel, which is a worst case scenario. I don't envision that happening, but they have to be very careful on this because they don't want to cause a situation that's worse than exists right now. So it's going to be really interesting to see.
So again, a bunch of workers having to solve engineers' problems.
Kinda, yeah.
And let's
go ahead.
Remember one very, very important part of the story, which is that before the Ever Given got stuck in there, it rotated a few times, drawing a dick via GPS.
It did, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very important to keep in mind.
Which I think was something that they did because they were bored waiting for like the Suez Canal to like allow them to pass through.
Right.
As the mariner that's talking now notes, once the Ever Given like entered the canal, it had like a special pilot on board for the canal. So nothing like inherently unprofessional necessarily. This wasn't intentional. It wasn't somebody that was extremely based, just trying to shut down 10% of the world's trade or anything like that.
As far as we know.
It's just it's just what happens when you have boats that are too big carrying essentially pilfered goods. As the meme I made earlier today notes, all of this stuff is created out of the surplus value of people's labor not being paid to them and then traded around the world. So this is just like a bunch of stolen labor on this ship to begin with, and it's just excess, and then it's such excess that it stops itself because it's too much excess.
All property is theft.
Yeah. Well, true. Go ahead and roll this out a little bit more.
What the result is, what causes this accident. Was it a mechanical failure? Was it operator error? Is it because of maintenance that wasn't done on the vessel? Or was it, crew fatigue? And so there's gonna be a lot of questions about this. And again, we're seeing the number of accidents increase over the span of this past year. Fortunately, none of them have been catastrophic yet in terms of lives lost. But what we are seeing is loss of cargo and impact in the economies.
So go ahead and stop the next video from playing. Just close the tab. It's interesting that he notes that accidents have been happening more frequently, which goes back into what I was saying about excess. And how we're like doing international trade now in such like weird excess that like we're also I mean it's it's just a bad circumstance of how we're doing trade and like the massive amounts of things that we're trying to move around the world, and because there's such massive things, like the accidents also become bigger because of the scale and the scope of what's being engaged with now. But there is a follow-up to the Suez Canal incident, which wasn't reported a whole lot, and probably because nothing actually came of it. But go ahead and go to the next link. Egypt had to declare a state of emergency when the Ever Given came back through the Suez Canal. Because it returned with a heavier load than it had in the first place. So you can scroll down. Or I guess that's the video up top. Sorry. So just go ahead and play.
The giant container ship Ever Given departed after being detained for 3 months amid a legal dispute between the Suez Canal Authority and the ship's owners. The ship was escorted out of the canal by 4 tugboats. 2 of the authority's most experienced pilots were also on board the ship to steer it out of the canal. At a press conference following the ship's departure, the Suez Canal Authority refused to reveal the compensation sum that it was receiving from the ship's owners. However, he did say that the payment would be received in 2 installments, one this month and one in August.
عايز اقول ان خلاص ننسى موضوع الرقم، احنا جبنا حقنا والدعوات بتاعتنا للهيئه وحافظنا على شركائنا. لكن احنا نبص على اللي حصل في خلال الست ايام والمجهود اللي بذل في خلال الست ايام دول وايه اللي احنا عملناه واللي العالم بيشيد بيه لغايه دلوقتي.
So just a funny little follow-up to the story. The
Very cool.
Suez Canal Authority never released how much money they got in a settlement with Evergreen Shipping, which was it's not Evergreen Shipping, it's like Evergreen Transit or some shit, whatever. The Evergreen company that leased the Ever Given so that they could ship stuff. They never released like how much they actually got from that company. But they allowed it back through with an even heavier load than it had before. And they had to call like a light state of emergency to just have people on hand in case, a big boat fuck up happened a second time. So my favorite story of the year, when the big boat fucked up the economy. Go ahead.
No, let's also remember a few other things that happened this year.
In memoriam.
In memoriam. We had the Surfside apartment complex collapse into the sea.
Yep.
Which I'm sure is it's a very Mike story. Did you guys know we had Olympics this year?
we did have an Olympics. Not highly like televised or followed because A, everyone's exhausted. B, like not very many attendees like in person to begin with, and then I think people
the
were
weird
more
Russia
worried about.
thing.
Well, yeah, and I think people were more worried about survival than like, let's watch all the Olympians. Like nobody cares.
There was the nightmare of leaving Afghanistan, at least on the face.
Well, it's a worse nightmare now, which is probably something that we should talk about in the new year. Which is Afghanistan is facing mass starvation because we pulled out and we've done absolutely nothing to like assist and aid the country after we've left them basically compromised to the worst things that can arise out of like a power vacuum.
We had the Chauvin case, as we noted.
Yeah.
Bunch of fucking tornadoes ripped up the U.S. this month.
Yeah.
Which good to remember. And just as a fun note, we made a malaria vaccine, but who cares about all the countries where that's applicable?
True.
They're not us. So whatever.
I feel something else big happened.
There's so much shit happen.
Yeah. It's been a very long year. Which, these time markers are arbitrary, of course, but we do heed them in some way naturally. Just because they're part of our formative years, we understand formative years, exactly. We understand everything in terms of years, and so this particular year has felt like forever. It has blended in a lot with the last 2 years because of all the lockdowns and general insane shit that governments have been doing. This is a year where the mask of capitalism just like all but fell off, and we've had to stare the ugly profit-seeking demons in the face, and we don't have any power to do anything about them. Good stuff. 2022 is not going to be a good year. Just gonna throw that out there. And I don't mean that to be a doomerist sort of perspective where I'm saying,
no, but that's how shit works.
well, no. What I would like to encourage people to do is understand that 2022 is not going to be your year, but it can be a year where you start to learn to form communities with people, to start to engage with more radical forms of thought and action, A year where we should not give up and just, drift into the ocean and fucking drown or whatever. But we should start really thinking about how we fight what's going on, how we move on past, the obvious failures of capitalism that even like the capitalists can see at this point, but they won't admit to. Don't take this as 2020 or 2022 is going to be worse, so like give up now. Take it as like a fucking do something in 2022.
Yeah, it's a challenge now.
Yeah. Well,
and not just to survive.
Yeah, not just to survive, but to help you and the people that you love thrive through it.
Yes. And let's add God to that celebrity death pool.
My 2022 New Year's resolution is to kill God. I'm putting them on my death pool. God will die this year. My soul
we have killed him.
Yeah. So I think we're pretty much done with the podcast at this point. I will go ahead and say if you enjoy this podcast, it will always be freely available to anybody who would like to listen or watch. But if you would like to help support this, please go to patreon.com/BenzoRehabDungeon, and you can pledge whatever amount you want. Even cents is fine. I don't even know if you can actually do cents on Patreon, but it'd be funny if somebody was like, "Hey, 5 cents a month, bitch."
Don't do that, but only because it would only go to Patreon. I don't think you'd get a cut. So you'd just be paying Patreon.
No, they would get like 1 cent on Patreon side, and we would get 4
no.
cents.
There's a percentage, and I think there's also like a per,
is there a minimum
transaction?
I think there is. I think I remember reading about that. It's Patreon or somebody else. It might have been one of the charity places.
Well, don't do that because that
give
that
the smallest amount you possibly can
if you want to. Like I said, always be free. I think I have anything else. Oh, we have shirts, of course. Always remember the shirts.
Don't forget the Three Kings holiday one that we released a while ago. We didn't mention it this year, but it rules.
We should have. Yeah,
it's a great shirt. It's beautiful. It's got a bunch of drug references because drugs are funny.
Yeah, I designed it, so
he designed it.
Deebs original, which is gonna mean something one day when I die, which could be soon. Who knows?
I think that came off of a meme that I made, though. To be fair.
Yeah. No.
So Deebs Danko, really. I mean, I deserve 30% of this.
I like how Red Kaladin and Jonathan Sotelo have joined at the very end of our fucking podcast.
Cowards.
One of whom we will be seeing later today, I believe.
Oh man, hell yeah.
But yeah, so that's all I have is thank you very much for watching us over this last year. We grew pretty substantially in viewership or listenership over this last year, and I'm very happy to see that. Please engage with us. You can send questions to the BenzoRehabQuestions@gmail.com. The only thing that I have in there right now is boner pill suggestions, so it would be cool if
which are appreciated.
Yeah, no, I need them, but it would be nice if we also got some real questions in there. Which I should apologize to my buddy Robert. We never addressed his questions, but they were very abstract and couldn't find a time to bring it up.
Well, now I want to know what those questions are.
Well, you know what? Next time we'll answer Robert's questions next time. So that's all I have on my end. Danko, do you have anything you want to shout out?
So we're on break for this weekend, but we are returning with another open workshop on January 8th. It's patreon.com/Truncata, TRUNCATA. again, for anyone that's not aware, it is a writing and philosophy workshop. It happens every Saturday, 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. PST. And the open workshop that we're going into on the 8th is going to be Deleuze and Guattari, and it's their work on Kafka. So that'll be a lot of fun. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's more or less what I have to announce for now. If you want to donate to us on the Patreon for the workshop, feel free to. If you don't have the money nor the interest in giving us money, just go ahead and send either Mike or myself a message on Instagram at either Benzo Rehab Dungeon or Dank Deleuze. And yeah.
Cool. John, are you ready to announce your OnlyFans page yet, or?
No, because I don't think that the listeners or the viewers want it bad enough.
A challenge.
Sorely mistaken. I get messages often about it. but you know what?
Well, they're the nervous type, you know.
Milton Wu in the chat says, shout out Blue Chew. Blue Chew, get your dick hard.
make your dick look like it's been beat.
Make your pee-pee stronger, longer.
And bruised. And significantly bruised.
We already have in the chat. Jonathan says that he wants the John OnlyFans. So
we'll see. We'll see what he's willing to do for it.
Yeah.
Well, this is our last podcast of the year. Fucking hate that joke. Everybody fucking says it, and I fucking hate it.
Such a classic joke.
Yeah, this is the last time I'll see you for a year.
But I am Pagliacci.
Yeah. But doctor, I am 2022. We will see you in the new year. We will have new content where we don't make fun of the elderly anymore. It's gonna be hard, man.
It's a promise. It's a promise.
Hard.
Joe Biden's only gonna get worse with time, and I don't know if
he
I
might
can
get
stop
younger.
myself. Benjamin Button, like late phase, like all of a sudden starts reverting back to like a fucking baby.
And that's what happens when you get old.
Yeah, true. You start off with diapers and then you end your life in diapers. Am I right?
We live in a diaper society.
Screaming about the jungle.
Yeah. Good. Well, we will see you
Take
all
mine
next week.
too.
Yeah. we love you very much. Please take your medicine.
Please take mine too.
And make sure to share with your friends.
Hell yeah.